officially starting. Welcome to my open studio, Sarah Baptist, Urban Landscape Artist. This is my 5th open studio, and it's special because it is the 5th one. Who would have known I would have gotten this far? I want to thank all my friends and family, because getting this far has been an amazing journey. And all of the supporters, all of friends and family and supporters, it's been a day-by-day journey. And in these times, I think everybody can appreciate the difficulties that we go through. And I just appreciate you being here today. And I appreciate all the support and love. And I think art and creative energy is really important and helps us all get through all sorts of challenges. And I'm glad you're here to share that with me, and I enjoy sharing that with you. And in these times, this is the way we're going to share things these days. So we're making history today with this virtual open studio, because this is the first one. So thanks for being here to make history with me. Okay, so come on into my home. Here we go. Okay, so this is a foyer. We're going to start here. This is, I don't know how many of you know that I started in theater, and I started as a set designer. And what I think is really interesting, just a couple years ago, I started kind of thinking about where I came from, and people were asking me why I like urban landscape. And this is a model, 1/2 inch equals a foot, of the very last set I ever designed and was produced. It's called Firebugs. It was produced at Bloomsburg Theater Ensemble in Bloomsburg, PA. And if that doesn't relate to some of the urban landscapes that I do, just, take a look at that. And, I think if you know my paintings, you can see a relationship to poles and wires. As I said, the play was Firebugs. It was about an arsonist, and so we had all sorts of ladders, and the things that are strung there were fire hoses. And it's funny because when I remembered this set and found this, it just it clicked to me that it's structure. People say you like structure. I like sculptural spaces, I think. So just take a look at that, and then as we're looking at paintings, I think you can see a relationship. It's just always been an interest, the negative spaces and how things cut through space is what fascinates me and interests me. So there you go. So, okay, so now we're going to come over here, and this painting is called Wired. And right off the bat again, you see the wires cutting through, and I think it relates to what you just saw as far as the negative spaces, and it's almost an abstract, there's an abstract quality to the shapes, to the colors, and to how the wires cut through the space. And that's what I enjoy about urban landscape painting and the urban landscape. So there you go. That's what I love. And I think that's what people respond to when they see my painting. So I started as a plein air artist. I've been painting for 6 years. So I started as a plein air artist, and that has really taught me a lot. There's a spontaneity to responding to your environment with plein air. And that's another element in my painting that it just is a quality, a quickness that is something I really enjoy, and is something I'm known for. I don't think much when I'm painting. I just kind of get it down there. I've learned a lot over the past 5 years. This is a fairly recent painting. Let's see. Let's just keep moving. People used to ask me, so for the first 3 years I did all plein air, and people would say, don't you do anything bigger? So I started moving into my studio, and this is an example of one of the first larger paintings I did. And I was trying to recreate, I always try to recreate the spontaneity and the life that you get in plein air painting when I'm doing the larger pieces. So this is an example of that, and it was an award winner back in, I believe, 2017, Chester County Studio Tour, which is actually happening this weekend. They had all the artists submitted one piece, as they do, and I was very blessed and honored to get Best in Show. So, but you can see I'm trying to move the paint around, and it's about the quality of the paint as much as the subject of the paint. It's about trying to get the feeling of that environment. Get some activity and light. So that's what I was trying to do with this painting. So, okay, so let's move into the living room. And are there any questions yet?
No.
No questions?
You might mention that this is how our house has always got the art.
Oh yes. I've wanted to mention that, yeah, this isn't special. Our house always looks like this. This is kind of, it's always got paintings hung like this. This is how I store them. It's a great way to store the paintings. So we live with art everywhere, all the time. I think it's a great way to live. So hope you agree. So here we are. Okay, so we're going to start here. Oh, I wanted to mention, I don't think I've mentioned this. So all the art that's hung on the walls, and I'm going to show you over the next 2 days, is on a special page on my website. So if you go to sarahbaptistart.com, you'll see a little thing that says Open Studio, and it's all on that page. So anything you see here, and you go, oh, I wanted to see more of that, you can go to sarahbaptistart.com. It says Open Studio on the menu. Click on that, and you can see all these paintings in more detail, and they're available for purchase. And you can either pick them up, or I will ship them for free for the next 2 days. So that's just a special reason to get them this weekend. And also, you can sign up for my email list. My subscribers have been getting emails about this Open Studio for about 2 weeks, and they got exclusive access for about a day, for a couple days. So you get some exclusive offers if you're my subscriber. So I encourage you to sign up, and some behind the scenes stuff if you're my subscriber. So anyway, that's a special. If you want to see closer up pictures or look at them a little longer, go to my website. Okay, so here, these two paintings are plein air, as I've talked about, and I think if you think back to that stage set I showed you, you see structure, you see how lines cut through space, and that's just that's what I love, that's what interests me. This is And Blue Skies is in Philadelphia. That's a South Philly painting. How do I find what I'm gonna paint? Sometimes there's a particular area I know I want to paint in. Sometimes, like that area I'm familiar with, I'll just get in the car. I'll go, I know I'm gonna head to this South Philly area, and I just wait until something kind of strikes me. Lots of times when I'm driving around, I'll see things and I'll plant this, I'll mark the spot, kind of like when in Google you pin, plant the pin, and this is down at the Peterson Wildlife Refuge in Wilmington, Delaware. I also do sometimes like, nature and man-made together. That's an example of that sort of interest. So the challenge in doing studio work for me is making it not stagnant and stale. When you're doing plein air, there's no time. You can't think. That's what helps it be spontaneous and lively, and that's just the nature of the plein air. So when I move into the studio, one of my concerns is often you're working from photographs, which are already flattened out. They don't have the same life as 3D. So it's always been a challenge for me as to how do I make a 2 foot by 2 foot, standing in the studio, looking from a photograph, have life and energy as the plein airs do. So this is an example of that. That's always just one of my challenges, and it continues to be a challenge. This is a very recent piece. It's called Little Italy. It's based off of a photograph I took of Little Italy in Wilmington, Delaware. And this is a more recent piece. I'm really happy. I feel it does have that quality. It's not stagnant or stale or look like a photograph. It feels like you're maybe walking just by it and you're getting a glimpse of it. You're getting, so it's just something I'm always working towards and trying to accomplish. And the thing is, there's no one way to do it. I'm not always going to do it. With this one, I happen to use a putty knife, a 6-inch putty knife, and scrape the paint and did all sorts of things. The fun of painting is I do it differently with different paintings. Just kind of depends on what the painting tells me to do, what mood I'm in, and there's no formula for me, and that's part of the fun for me in painting. So just once again, in case you're tuned in a little later, I'm Sarah Baptist, urban landscape artist. The other thing I wanted to say that I did want to say that the thing about Open Studio, which I think is kind of cool and special, and what people have said to me that's special, is that you get to see a body of work, and you get to see more variety than you see often in just, if you go see a show of somebody's, they're going to show you very specific, I do this, I did a special series, and here's that series. Or when you come here, and so far you've seen all plein air, but I'm going to show you, you're already seeing some variety. You've seen plein air, and now you've seen one piece that's based off of plein air. We're going to start moving into some abstraction, and actually later tonight, if you tune in the next couple days, you'll start seeing some of my figurative work. But there's abstract. I have a number of different interests, and people are always surprised when they come to my open studios. They see things that they don't expect, And I think that's the fun part of going to any artist studio, is usually you will see some things that they don't normally show, because when you have a specific show, you're kind of contained. And in an open studio, people can see some, they can see sketches, they can see sketchbooks. You can just show them more. And you get more of a feel for how the artist works and their space. So I'm just glad I can share that with you to some extent. I wish you could be here. I wish we could talk one-on-one, because that's a special relationship too. But this is the next best thing, and I just wanted to say that that's with any artist that you like looking at. If you can get to their studio, I encourage you to do that, because it just is a special experience, and I enjoy going to other artist studios and seeing what they're doing. So I encourage you to do that. Okay, so this is kind of a cool. So here's a little 6x6, and this is a plein air I did. It looks a bit abstract, doesn't it? This thing I struggled with. I did it for a Malvern plein air event, and I hated this thing. I really did. I painted it, I scraped it out, I painted it, I scraped it out, I painted it, I finally scraped it out, and then it kind of came together for me, and I put in a few little pencil lines. I don't know if you saw that when Mitchell got very close. There's some pencil lines in there. I often do that with my plein airs. There's usually a little pencil drawing in there. But what it is, the green are those highway signs, and this is kind of there's a bridge, an on-ramp. But so I did this, and then in this area I took a bunch of photographs. And at the time I wasn't sure whether I liked this or not. I have come to love it. But that winter, I then took the photographs and I did this 2x2 painting. And I was kind of fascinated with taking color out of my paintings, like just having a pop of color, and especially with subject matter, I thought that was appropriate. And so I was experimenting with abstraction a little bit, just the texture of the paint, pop of color, and so yeah, I think, so that's kind of just a fun juxtaposition, I think, of seeing how one relates to the other and how you can build one thing from another. And how you can have the same subject matter, but it can take all sorts of, different approaches with it. So, and again, this is like I just said, this is just another turn in one of my interests, which is, starts me leaning towards some abstraction, which I love to play with, and also black and white, which I had a little play with. I'd like to do some more of it. So let's go around into the office and we'll show you another black and white, which I was playing with. Jackie wants to hide. So there's one called Street Beats. This was the same sort of thing. This is much looser. I thought that one was a little tight and a little graphic. So this one, I wanted it to be loose, and I wanted you to know what it was, but like with the cars, I wanted as few marks and as unspecific as I could get it, but for you to know what it is. So I think I accomplished that. And this one is called Street Beats. It's based off a photograph. But, okay. And then here are some studies. These are just 3 studies I did. These are 8x8 studies. They're all based off photographs I did or took at Wilmington Riverfront. Again, they kind of lean towards that limited palette. You know, I like to play. I like to play. So, the red wall. Here's the red wall. Okay. So, again, just in case anybody tuned in late, I'm Sarah Baptist, urban landscape artist. And I do have a web page again. All this art is on my website at sarahbaptistart.com under Open Studio. And please consider signing up for my email list if you haven't done that already. So all these smaller works, this batch, these are all plein air. And they're from all over, from New York City to Marcus Hook to Wilmington. When you do, in the first several years of doing plein air, there are these things called plein air events, and you go to these towns and you paint for 3 or 4 days, and then they have a show. So I've done several, more than several. I've done lots of those. And so that's where some of these come from. As you can see, I think some of these relate. I mean, I love alleys. I love bridges underneath. I love pavement, and this is a shadow on pavement. Just fun stuff. Oh, am I in the way? I'm in the way. So, and then this is from Philly. This is, you start getting into some of the abstraction from, you saw some of the abstraction here, but this is, buildings, they're really just blocks. But I love how, it reads as buildings. That's the magic of paint, the magic of art, I think. And then again, you see pencil line. I love to draw and paint. So just a few more things, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about on this wall was I've enjoyed in the past couple of years doing what I call the parking garage series. And what that is I go into parking garages and I paint. So I started doing that plein air. I have a few of those around, and then when I was up in the parking garage, I took lots and lots of pictures. And in this winter time in the studio, I started doing these paintings. So this is my very first large painting. Again, I was responding to the request I got of, do you do any larger paintings? So this is a 3-foot by 3-foot painting based off of some photographs I took up from a parking garage. So you get that aerial kind of view, which I just think is really an interesting perspective. It kind of throws your whole idea of normal perspective out the window, which for me as an artist is really fun to do. It's you kind of grapple with some different problems with painting. This is the same. It's kind of like, where's that angle going? This is called Me and My Shadow, and starting to throw some people in my paintings. So that's what those are.
Where is the painting under the bridge?
Under the bridge, that's from New York City. And that one did sell. That is sold. That was from New York City. So, okay, so let's swing around. This is just a little grouping. This is one's from New Jersey, Wilmington. This is Rita's Water Ice. Everybody loves Rita's, right? Mitchell, my cameraman, is hard at work. Doing a great job, Mitchell. And then here is a little sketch I did. So I went out with Urban Sketchers a couple years ago, and I did this little sketch. I often do. I have sketches, you know, go out and sketch. So I did this little sketch, and I was trying to figure out what to paint one time in my studio. And I always liked the angle of the sketch, and you know, I love people. I love figure drawing. And so, voila! Mitchell will show you the painting that I did based off of that sketch. So this is called At the Station, and I really had a lot of fun with that. And it's really, I think, the first and maybe the only painting I've done off of a sketch, which is kind of interesting. All the other ones are from photographs. I just realized. Yeah, that was 30th Street Station. A group of artists called Urban Sketchers. They would meet. Obviously. Yep. So I like sketching and pen and ink. Okay. So earlier this week, I went out and painted plein air twice, and I did some videos, and I promised to tell everybody, or show everybody today, how those paintings turned out. So I'm going to show you that now. Let's come in here, Mitchell. So you can go back on my page and look at the video, see where I was, see how the painting started out. But there's this little guy. This is a 6x6, and I did this in, I was up in Marcus Hook. Marcus Hook, PA, has some great stuff to paint. Lots of alleyways, lots of stuff to paint. So I like going up there. And I'm in North Wilmington, so it's easy for me to pop up. So, and this guy is the largest plein air painting I have ever done. And it's 12 inches by 24 inches. I don't know what I was thinking. But yes, there's a there. So both of them, there's some video on my page. There's so you can go back and take a look and see what they started out like. And so there you go. So virtual open studio tour number 1. Well, there's some abstracts I haven't talked about. The middle one isn't mine. Don't look in the middle. So these abstracts are things we call these, it's okay. These are what I call urban abstracts, and they are based, I start with some sort of idea.
Put the tiles together.
Yeah. So what I did is I had 12 tiles, 8-inch by 8-inch tiles, and I put them all together, and I just did one. I had a picture in mind of, and it was an urban landscape, and I did the picture over all of them. And then I had marks and some sort of color, very loose sketch on all of the panels. And then I separated the panels and just built off of what was on that panel. So every panel had a mark, but when you took the panel away from the big picture, it didn't necessarily make sense, but it gave me some sort of color and line to respond to. And so it was a way for me to get started on an abstract, and it was just really an experiment for me to see if I could do it, and it was something I was interested in learning, and again, playing and trying to push my boundaries. I don't want things to get stale. I want to try new things. I want to grow. That's what I think every artist wants to do, and I think it helps inform my plein air work. It helps to inform all my work. So I want to be the best artist I can be. So we want to keep growing, and I think all these things inform each other, and then get better. So anyway, that's where we are today. I don't want this to go too long, so I really want to thank you for your time today, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow at 10:30. We'll continue on. There are 2 more rooms, be about the same time, as far as be about a half hour or so. 10:30 tomorrow morning. I'm going to be doing, show you my plein air kit tonight and paints I use, and be talking about that at 7 p.m. tonight in my studio. And then we'll do another session at 7 p.m. tomorrow, talking about some stuff I'm working on now, or answering questions. And the evening session, we'll do more question and answer. So if you have any questions or want to talk about something in particular, there's your chance. Okay? So again, sarahbaptistart.com, open studio page is there. You can look at all this art more closely. I really appreciate you coming and stopping in. I hope to see you tonight, tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. I hope it's as gorgeous where you are as here. So, take care.